India Decides, and was a compilation of all the results of elections to the Lok Sabha until 1985, and was at first little more than a footnote, which we self-published. It was only later produced more formally as a bound edition, thanks to the input of the journal India Today. India was a young democracy then, only 3 decades or so into its existence, and there were no working psephologists in the country. No one had yet aggregated all the results of the country's elections in one place. Indeed, the concept of psephology was largely unknown to the public at large in what had until then mostly been a series of electoral processions for the Nehru-Gandhi family. That was the era of strong incumbent advantage, of course, since there have been huge swings in public sentiment towards anti-incumbent revolt and back again. Pranoy's brilliance and receptiveness to my academic suggestions included his technical aptitude in those early years of computing and TV graphics, figuring out ways to distill and present complex information to a general audience. He had a tremendous willingness to question the old norms of electoral interpretation in a time of what looked like perpetual Congress ascendancy. In psephological terms, what the book also helped to demonstrate was the extent to which the concept of uniform swing, where swing in one small region tended to be duplicated around the country, did actually apply in India, as it had been shown too in the UK. On the whole, what the numbers revealed was that uniformity usually operated on a state-by-state level, and much less so nationwide, where, for example, north and south trends could work in opposite directions. This mattered because polling around Indian elections was remarkably unreliable in those days, until Dorab Sopariwala entered the scene. Indeed, it may not be too boastful to suggest that our work, and above all Pranoy's pioneering electoral broadcasts, contributed largely to the understanding of how more reliable polling needed to be conducted. We produced a number of subsequent editions of our book, and I also helped him in the studio to produce some of India's first independent electoral TV broadcasts. To the extent that I had a job then, it was to help communicate the idea of how small, narrow local results could be understood as part of a much bigger national picture, to hand over the experience that I had painfully acquired over many years commenting on British elections, reducing complicated statistical patterns to a digestible conclusion. Whenever I visited Delhi, I stayed at the India International Centre behind Lodi Gardens, a curiously collegiate environment where frenzied meetings would take place amongst our team, discussing how to compile, enhance, and amend the book, and prepare the upcoming electoral programs. I remember the delight of working with Pranoy in successive Lok Sabha contests, and both of us educating each other, though I had much more to learn. Those early trips left an indelible impression, and I found myself back in Delhi many times thereafter to enjoy the energy of the campaigns and the enthusiasm of Pranoy, Radhika, and the rest of the emerging team at NDTV, who helped to make elections in the country for the first time truly comprehensible to the TV viewing public. The world of Indian politics had moved on from the Congress-dominated era with the rise of a variety of trends, the politics of social media, the growing influence of female voters, new populist leaders, and now is clearly a very timely moment for the verdict, Pranoy and Dorab's attempt to decode the modern electoral landscape. But the patterns we first helped to describe in the 1980s and 1990s, I believe, still have a relevance. It's been my good fortune to witness elections in the largest democracy in the world, and I'm deeply